What's good, folks? Here we are for Walking the Wire, week 12. We've made it 3 weeks away from playoffs. Let's get it started. Let's get it rolling, folks. Here it goes. Yo! What's up, everybody? Here we go. It's Brian back for another episode of Walking the Wire. Too much fantasy football here on the Fantasy Football Advice Network. For all of you out there, I can't thank you enough for jumping in with me. I mean, hell, if you're still paying attention, that means there's at least a sliver, just a sliver of hope that you're going to make it into the playoffs and make sure we can find a way to win that championship. So glad for y'all that are here popping in. I'm so excited. We got a few things already popping in the chat. We'll check that out. Of course, as every week, we're going to break down the waiver wire, all the fun happenings. Jets are jetting right now, so I'm sure that's going to pop up here just a little bit. But yes, Brian, at @too_much_Brian if you're looking for me on Twitter, all over on the Fantasy Football Advice Network. But let's get it going. Y'all ready to get it started? Typically, we catch a little news up here, but looks like Jason's popping in here with a few questions. He's busy. Looks like a busy fellow. So let's get these questions answered and move on through the afternoon. Holding Houston's defense for Tennessee, or at Pitt's defense against Cleveland, Kansas City against Carolina, Tampa Bay against New York Giants. Well, as you probably read in just about every waiver wire article there is, Tampa Bay is one of the best ones to grab. You've got Danny DeVito, he's playing against this week. DeVito did find a way to get in there. The Giants are looking to play for the future. They want to make sure they win, and what's a better way than putting out DeVito? So I do like Tampa Bay. They got a good matchup there. Their rest of season matchup is kind of, I think that what's the enticing part about going after the Buccaneers defense, because we've been targeting the Bucs defense for most of the season, just trying to see what we can get out of that secondary, because it is atrocious. But they play the Giants. We got Carolina, Vegas, the Chargers, but then Dallas and Carolina. So I absolutely love grabbing them. As far as probably the best performer this week, it might be Kansas City. It's a studly defense. They actually don't score a whole lot of fantasy points, but going up against Carolina, that defense is going to shut down the best part of that offense in the running game. So if you can grab Kansas City still, I'm down to grab that going forward, at least this coming week. Tampa Bay, though, they do have a juicy matchup. I mean, really, if you want to grab it, it's the defense, the running backs, the wide receiver, all across the board there. You're looking for pretty good matchups. Jason's got another question here. Drop estimate for Javonte Williams, which I'm curious. Did you drop Javonte last week for estimate? It seems like so many did. Roschon Johnson, Akers, Christian Watson, and half PPR. Christian Watson, I do like picking him up. If you guys have been here for most of these shows, I got a little thing for Christian Watson. It's just that size, man. The size and speed. I'm just so hopeful for it. And hell, he stayed healthy. We did not get hamstring injuries this week, or this season so far. So I'm still in on him, at least as the long-term dynasty, just to see what pops up. So I guess it depends on what your team needs. You need a wide receiver 3 that you can put in there that can give you a boom week like you did this past week. 100% Christian Watson's probably one of the better guys that you can get out there from the waiver wire. But if you are looking for a running back, Javonte Williams, Roschon, Akers, the Vikings situation is interesting. Are they moving away from Aaron Rodgers just to lighten the load for him a little bit, or is he banged up right now and they're just kind of pulling it back for those reasons? So I think I might be leaning Javonte or Akers. I really like Roschon Johnson as far as a talent. We talked about him on the show for quite a while as far as just a pickup in case Swift goes down, but I do not like the rest of season schedule for the Bears. Like if your trade deadline hasn't ended, I love the idea of selling Swift, just because there's some hype, there's some draw. He's had 2 top 12 weeks in the last 4 weeks, 30 and 23 mixed in there, but Minnesota twice, Detroit twice, and San Francisco and Seattle are the next 6 games. I don't want that. Even if you don't absolutely have to lean on him the next 2 weeks when he plays Minnesota and Detroit, he does it again the first 2 weeks of the fantasy playoffs. So I don't necessarily want to. Again, I'm not dropping Swift, but I'm not rushing for Roschon, I guess, as fast as I would some of these other guys, just because I do see a higher upside. Roschon's a talent for sure, but I worry about that schedule. It's it's rough coming up. But the new OC, that's kind of what we saw because of Roschon being relevant, was because the new OC came in a little bit, pulled back Swift's touches. Lowest he saw on the ground since week 2, lowest he's seen through the air all season long. So yeah, Jason. Bam. I do like, I mean, definitely dropping Estime, though. If you want to move to Javante, Roshan, or Akers, I think it's all kind of situational, is what you're looking at there. Boom. As always, folks, you got questions, you got a topic you want to bring up, something for us to talk about, throw it in the chat. I'm here for the next hour, 3:30 Eastern every week on Tuesdays, talking about just waiver wire pickups, stuff in general. I mean, do we need to bring up the Jets? Do we need to bring up just the... I mean, are they prepping for the offseason? Obviously, they want to, I guess, get a head start on who they're going to replace Joe Douglas with at the GM position, but really can't do any interviewing. If anything, you're just kind of putting it out there that, hey, we're looking for somebody. But I'm pretty sure we all knew that they were looking for somebody. Aaron Rodgers has just completely cleaned house. Luckily, he's got several years, half decade, before he needs to retire, so he can go through the process of something like this, right? Rest of the season, where y'all at on that? That is, I hope they can stay competitive. That's my biggest fear, is Breece Hall with this great schedule he has coming forward, that he just doesn't have to stay productive. They don't have to, dig it in. They've got Braylon Allen, who they can kind of lean on a little bit more if they want to split it 50-50. Or does this interim head coach want to prove that he's worth looking at in some light, whether it be for the Jets or who have you? But Breece Hall, number 7 running back on the season in half PPR. We've got Seattle after the bye, Miami, Jacksonville, Rams, and then Buffalo in the championship. So I do like that quite a bit. As far as pickups, let's check out some of these that we are looking at. As far as running back, Trey Benson, coming off of the bye week. We've got to see some great work from him last week. We still haven't had that legendary miss that James Conner always has. He misses at least a couple games a year. He still hasn't. We're not rooting for it, but when you're gearing up for the playoffs, you want to be prepped and ready. And the way you do that is by picking up these backup running backs, guys that you can see carrying the workload, like Zach Charbonnet for the Seahawks, or Trey Benson. Trey Benson, right before the break, jumped in there, 10 carries, 62 yards. Also saw 2 targets, catching them both for 25. Juicy there, Arturo. We got trade JJ for Lamar and JSN. Oh man. I don't know if I want to. I do like Minnesota's rest of season schedule as far as it goes for the pass catchers. Pulling it up here. We've got Chicago. That one's tough. This week's going to be rough, but Arizona, you can kind of throw on Atlanta, Seattle, and then Green Bay in the final 2 weeks. It's just those 2 matchups against Chicago are rough. But then pulling up the rest of the season schedule for Lamar, it's not pretty. It's not pretty, man. Here, let me. It's 6th worst. For as far as Lamar goes. He plays the Chargers this week. We've got Philly, the bye week, the Giants, and then Pittsburgh and Houston the final 2 weeks. That Houston championship game, that one should be pretty good, but we just saw what Pittsburgh did, and it would suck, absolutely suck, just to get hung up there on that final one. As far as JSN, I'm going to tell you right now, I don't know if I'm the guy to ask. If you've seen any of the stuff that I've done over this season, it's a tumultuous, it's been rough. I stick with Jaden. I don't mind that at all. I don't believe the Commanders. Yeah, they're about middle of the road. They play Dallas this week. That one's a good matchup. Tennessee is not bad for them. The bye week, and then you've got New Orleans, Philly, and Atlanta. So yeah, that Philly one's going to be rough. So kind of him and Lamar, it seems like it's going to be a tough sledding for him, just as far as that semifinals game there in week 15. Going against Philly though, I bet they get a little bit of magic, right? Hopefully. But then Atlanta and New Orleans, yeah, absolutely should be able to score on those two. So I don't mind Jaden Daniels. I think I take Jaden Daniels and JJ over Lamar and JSN just about in every situation. JSN's just so damn difficult. I was preaching him all summer. I held him for most of the year. And right before the bye week, when I was ready to drop him, he had that blow-up game. We came back at it this past week. It was great. We've seen 11 and 13 targets over the last 2 weeks. The huge difference is, though, it's the yards per target. It's where he's seeing them on the field. It's just not far enough down the field for him to really get those looks. With DK back, we saw, again, JSN getting hit closer and closer to the line of scrimmage than you want. Yeah, 10 catches, 110 yards. You know, yards per target was only 10. 13 was the big game. His 2 games that he's had that turned out pretty well. 13 yards per target. So, I don't know. Arizona, the Jets, Arizona again, Green Bay, Chicago in the championship. I just don't know if I want to trust Jackson Smith in Jigba, especially when you've got Justin Jefferson. Absolutely should crush it with him. Oh, we got the Frizz coming in here. Pop Douglas, Elijah Moore, or Darius Slayton rest of season. 14-man. Okay, so standard, that does play a big difference there. Because Pop Douglas, I think, would be the easy grab as far as, half PPR or full PPR, just because he has a target. But so is Elijah Moore. I don't know if I like Darius Slayton really at all at this point, just because of the DeVito situation. But because it is 14-man, I understand that. I guess you only get 1 out of the 3. That's rough. That's rough. I want to lean Pop Douglas. I know I kind of made the case for him more so on half PPR, but Elijah Moore just seems so much boomer bust. They've got a rough schedule ahead of them. Demario Douglas, what does he have? Got Miami, India, bye, and then Arizona, Buffalo, and Chargers. That's not great. That's not great. I remember old best ball this summer trying to correlate the Chargers and the Patriots just because they were so cheap to grab, but it was an ugly matchup for sure. Let me pull up here for wide receiver strength of schedule. Damn, where are those Browns at? That's not good. I'm having to scroll. Yeah, they're at the bottom. So the Browns actually have one of the worst schedules for wide receivers remaining. They play Pittsburgh, Denver, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, and Miami. They do have Cincinnati in the semifinal week, but outside of that, like, Elijah Moore could absolutely get shut down in most of those weeks, despite, I mean, if you look at the target basis that we are seeing for Jameis Winston and his boys right now, it's, I believe, I had the numbers pulled up here a second ago. It's on pace for like wide receiver 6, 7, and like 10 so far over the last month. He's absolutely crushing it right now. So I think I'm going to lean Pop Douglas. I think I like his quarterback the best. I think I'm going to leave it with that because all 3 of these guys it's a tough sledding for them for sure. But 14-team league, if you're going for the boom, I think Elijah Moore. If you're going for the floor, I think I'd go Pop. South Sea popping in here. Would you drop Kincaid for Taysom? Already have Hawk. Yeah, go for it. If you have Hawk, I think I like Hawkinson's rest of season schedule. I think he's my favorite as far as like what's left. Yeah, he's at the top for me as far as like just the teams he's playing. So I love having Hawkinson, but Taysom Hill, he's a cheat code. So if you're I feel much more comfortable playing him over Kincaid rest of season. Kincaid just seems to be a part of the team. He didn't become that number 1 pass catcher like we were hoping to this summer. Right. Oh, Albert's in the chat. What's happening, buddy? We've been waiting for you. Couldn't kick it off. Couldn't get the party started yet, but it's all right, folks. Albert's here. We can get it rolling. Get the Frizz back here. Also got Bijan on bye. So would you start Estime or Trey Benson? Yo, you're in some tough shit, my man. I want to leave him Trey Benson because I like the talent more on Trey Benson. I think the pass catching is going to be there over him and Estime, but it's damn, I've got to dig. They got Trey Benson right at wide receiver. I've got them back to back right now. I've got Trey Benson at 32, and then I've got Audric Estime at 33. I think I'm going to go Trey Benson over that. Just like Sean Payton, man. He said essentially the same thing for 3 weeks in a row, and it's just after the week after he got some work that we got all hyped up, and should have seen it coming a little bit, but game script, I think I like the game script better for Estime, but I'm going to go Trey Benson, just more so on the talent at this point in the week. Tyler, what's happening, man? How we doing? Would you drop Dell or Downs for Judy? Oh, wow, that's a situation. That's some... You're talking about dropping Dell and Downs, and then my guy Frizz over here is talking about having him play Pop, Elijah, or Darius Slayton rest of season. These are all different times we're all sitting in. That's fun. Just right off the bat, I want to say no. Like, I get... Judy's already had his bye, so I think that's a big kind of deciding factor in that situation. But, like, he plays Thursday night against the Steelers. Like, that one's going to be rough. After that, they have, Denver, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Miami. I don't know if I want Judy. Oh, Downs is definitely the most talented out of the three. He does have his bye coming up. I believe Houston's already had theirs, which is nice. So right off the bat, you're getting one more game. Nope, he's got his bye in week 14. Cool, makes it easier. Not really. Tennessee, Jacksonville, Miami, Kansas City, Baltimore. Oh, man. Dell's got that beautiful matchup against Baltimore in the championship for your championship game. So I do like that. Outside of that, man, that's freaking rough. Downs gets the Detroit this week, New England next week, bye, Denver, Tennessee. Yo, man. I think I might take Dell. I'm really excited about the Houston Texans. I think they need to turn things around a little bit. They've got Collins back. This offense is going to hum. And Collins and Diggs were doing great together. I was hoping it was going to be Dell when the three of them were there, but it was clearly Diggs. So with Diggs out, there's still going to be a lot of points. So I think Dell's on the best offensive situation. And then to probably go Downs and Judy. Like, I get Judy's been seeing some unreal work. Like, pulling up his target share over the last, month since Jameis has been there. 11, 11, 8, and 6 targets. He's had over 70 yards in in his last 3 games. So, man, that's hard to walk away from. But yeah, just that matchup is brutal, man. Absolutely brutal. So I think I'm going to swing. I'd probably swing Dell for the upside, just in that situation. Arturo, what do we have here? The Lamar owner told me he wants Malik and Pickens for Lamar. How do you feel about that one? But you're still rocking Jaden Daniels, though, aren't you? Like, I don't think you'll need Lamar and Jaden Daniels. Malik's in a situation coming up, but I really love Pickens rest of season. Just because I've been fading Harris for the reason of the schedule, but on the flip side, you've got Pickens who gets Cleveland, Cincinnati, Cleveland, Philly, Baltimore, Kansas City in the championship. That one's going to be rough, but leading up to it, those are all great matchups outside of Philly. 4 of his next 5 are absolute great matchups. All they traded for was Mike Williams. So, unless you're dead set on getting Lamar. If you really want Lamar, go get your guy. I completely understand that. Lamar's pushing for an MVP. He's been great for most of this year. Only a couple of bumps as far as the season goes in consistency. Trying to pull up his chart here now, but if you want Lamar that bad, I get it. But if you already have Jaden Daniels, I feel like you should be able to piece it between him and maybe a streamer in 1 or 2 weeks and be able to keep that firepower. Just giving up 2 good wide receivers like that, you take one bad injury, it could really spell you. At the same time, though, I was looking at it. Scoring has been just atrocious for wide receivers this year. I believe it's only 6 wide receivers have broke 150 points, where it's like it's over 20 running backs have the season. We're back in Powerball, folks. I can't wait to watch the pendulum swing the other direction. It's going to be a fun offseason. I can't wait. But before that happens, we've got to win ourselves some championships. And where do you do that? Well, you come here on this show. You come here all over, asking advice, looking for help, chatting it up. But you also have to go to the website. What website? Oh, it's the network. That's where you can find us all over the place.
We are here. We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to FantasySportsAdvice.com and become a pro member for unlimited access. Again, go to FantasySportsAdvice.com today.
Woo! Yeah, thought it was going to be a link to the bathroom back. It's only a 30-second ad, so we'll have to hold it. It's all right, folks. 40 more minutes. We got this. But yeah, R0, going back to that, I think I'd hold suit depending on what your wide receivers look like. But yeah, it's completely depending on where you're at with Lamar. Frizz came back Would you do Pop Douglas or Leggett and flex this week? Probably Pop Douglas. Again, I'm blanking on who they play right now, but I know Kansas City is going up against Leggett, and I don't know if I want to play that game, especially with Adam Thielen coming back. We're not really 100% sure. Would we get a sample size of 2.5 games before he went on IR? So I'm not confident to really make any calls on where this wide receiver room. Sorry, folks. I don't know what happened there. My bad. But yeah, Pop Douglas, he gets Miami. It's kind of a rough matchup, but yeah, I think I'd go Pop Douglas. If this is your non PPR, yeah, I think I'd still go Pop. He just sees so many more targets. I mean, Hunter Henry is the the number one in targets. It seems like on that team, but Pop's been doing well with him. Tyler, also, it is okay to start two people on the same team. Ottener. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you have to understand what team you're starting it for. Like, I wouldn't exactly suggest starting Coker and Leggett for the Panthers, but yeah, I've got no problem at all, especially when it's should be a high scoring game. This one's an interesting situation though, just as far as like, is this going to be a high scoring game? I mean, a lot of people, myself included, are big on the Bucks as far as a streaming defense this week. So that usually implies that the defense should be able to hold them. If they can't make this game competitive, I don't know how many opportunities these two get. At the same time, they are. I mean, Kate Otton's been the number one target for the offense, and Bucky Irving. I like Irving for sure. Just the game script, I feel like Irving should be getting plenty of work as far as running the ball. He's the running back for the team, and then you've got Rashad White, who's the pass catching running back for the team. So Irving, I think he's got a great game script. Otten, I just think he's going to see plenty of targets, so I don't mind playing him. The over under is 41.5. That's low. At this point of the week, it's one of the lower ones. You got the Vikings and the Bears at 39.5. Thursday, 36.5 is what we're opening up at, folks. Steelers and the Browns. You know what? Last week was supposed to be a barn burner. It was a snooze fest. So maybe we get it flipped. Maybe it's 36.5, so we get to see a good handful of touchdowns. But rest of the season, I like Irving and Otten. I'm in a Grand Theft Auto league. You get to steal a player from the other team when you beat them. I had the choice between Malik Neighbors and Bucky Irving. I took Bucky Irving. Before you blow me up in the chat, situationally, I had two running backs in that league. All I had was Achane and Brian Robinson, so I had to take them. My wide receivers are stacked, but I love Bucky's rest of the season, especially in the playoff. His three matchups there. He gets the Panthers, he gets the Cowboys. I don't remember the other one, but all great matchups. Judy gets 10 targets a game. Dell stinks first down. But that was also a situation. Like, they didn't need to use Dell. Like, Collins also stunk against Dallas. You know, like, Mixon was able to handle the ball just fine. The defense was able to take care of business. I believe the defense scored a touchdown. So when that happens in those blow-up games, you don't always see a lot happening through the passing game. So the Dell one, I don't think it was too surprising just because of the situation. Like, you can run all over Dallas. Most teams are just, that's all they're doing. So I totally get that. And if you want to follow the targets of Judy, I don't blame you for it. I think he's my favorite out of him, Tillman, and Elijah Moore at this point, just because we are seeing the consistency in the yards. Tillman seems to be a little bit more of the big play, and then Elijah Moore. Where is he going to go? Is he lining up in the slot? Is he going out deep? Sure, wish he would. Man, I'm so excited for him when he came into the league. John, what you got for me? Who should I pick up? Jonnu, Taysom, or Disley? Need a backup tight end in case Kittle goes down again. And should I prioritize them ahead of a streaking defense? Well, if they're a streaking defense, they're probably naked. Not many people are going to be grabbing them. So, as long as they're not oiled up, you should be able to snag them later on. Yeah, I think I'd prioritize the tight end here. Jonnu and Taysom. Disley's actually been great too. I think he's been an awesome streamer. My article I write every week, he's been on there the last couple weeks, so it was hard to put him there a third time this week, but that's where we're at. Jonnu seems to be a huge part of this offense because they're not throwing it deep. It's all close to the line of scrimmage. Well, Waddle's out. This is where Jonnu's thriving. So he does seem to be, I guess, the third target behind Achane and Hill. And then there's Taysom. Taysom's the boom bust. I think I'd prioritize Taysom, Jonnu, and Disley in that order, just because Taysom does give you ultimately the biggest ceiling. All three of these guys could give you 3 points any given week, but I don't think any of them have the possibility of giving you 40 points like Taysom just did. And it seems like that workload should roll through. So yeah, Johnny, Taysom, Disley, and were you looking for a drop option? Oh, just prioritize. Yeah, pick up your defense Sunday morning, Saturday morning. I usually do, unless there's like a screaming option that's just looks great. That's probably going to disappoint like most weeks. No, not always, but I have no. Most of my league Sunday morning is me looking for defenses to plug and play, just because I'm holding running backs, I'm holding other players, waiting to put out players in my IR. However, you need to, just scrape for roster spots. Tyler, Otten, and Irving. I'm trying to remember, put that together. Oh, it was just fill in for the last one. Cool. We got Shadow coming in here. What's happening? Pick one to drop for Sutton. Hopkins, Tillman. Okay, you're keeping Metcalf for sure. McLaurin for sure. Yeah, drop Tillman. Drop Tillman. I know he's been seeing an unreal amount of targets, but as we just talked about, Jerry Jeudy has as well. That whole team has, and they've got a rough schedule going forward. Hopkins probably not far behind him. He's boom busty as well. They don't necessarily need him, and they've got Pacheco coming back over the next few weeks, so that run game could only increase. So yeah, give me Sutton over Tillman. Let somebody else play the carousel with Jameis Winston. Awesome. Nice. Filled up there. Like I said, as always, folks, fill them up. Whatever you have, any topics you want to talk about, questions you have, I'm here. We can talk it over, work it out, figure out the way to get to those championships. Because I know I'm scraping. I don't have a single league that I'm out of. Well, except for Scott Fishbowl. Did make the playoffs in that one. But hell, we drafted in July. It's so hard to get stuff rolling, and I just very much under predicted how much the return yards would factor in that. I was gonna say, as far as most of my leagues, we're looking good. I'm trying to get there just like y'all, hoping to fill out a few playoff brackets, get a few championships this year. It's rough out there. Did y'all have any? Oh, we're dropping people. Brian, shut up about your leagues. Nobody cares. As far as other pickups we had, I'm trying to remember some of the other big ones that I was talking about earlier. Bam. Okay, we talked about Benson. We talked about Roshan, Akers, Gus Edwards. That one's rough for me. Again, he's kind of like an estimate. He will be out there for first and second downs, but unless you see a lot of goal line work for these guys, I don't know how much you can really rely on them, just because that pass catching work isn't there. Christian Watson was touched on a little bit ago. I saw he's around 50% owned in a lot of leagues. Go get him. Go get him. There's not many of these wide receivers that kind of give you this, the volatility that you're going to get there. I know it's rough. You're not playing him as a wide receiver, one or two, but if you can get him in there as a wide receiver 3 with that possibility of a big game, he kind of plays out as that, like him, Quentin Johnston. You've also got Jordan Addison would fall in that category, I guess. MVS. Roma Dunze, is he coming out of that? Led the freaking the team in target share this past week, 31%, highest of any Bears wide receiver on the season. Is it happening? Is Roma Dunze's season coming in? I don't know where my buddy Mathiason's at. He should be popping in here soon, but we've both been hoping that Dunze can take us rest away, because as far as rest of season goes, strength of schedule, wide receiver, Roma Dunze is right there up at the top. In the final 3 weeks, playing Minnesota, Detroit, and Seattle. All 3 of those teams you can pass on. It looks like such a good matchup. We got a new OC in there. Caleb Williams, maybe we'll get a little bit more, confidence from him. We got Zuzu in the chat. Yo, what's up? What's happening? How we doing today? We're just here. We're breaking it down, going through some questions, trying to answer it all, make sure that we can get y'all as many wins as we can, because 3 weeks till. Any of y'all actually out of the playoff contention? How many need to win out? Because my home league, it's crushing me. I probably need to win out, but I think I can get away with 2 or 3 wins. But the way it comes down, I always get screwed and it's the worst. John, thank you. Who wins the trade? DK and Achane, or Mixon, Flowers, and Tillman? I think I'm taking DK and Achane. Mixon's been playing out of his mind. He has been playing so well. But just DK over Flowers or Tillman. I like him rest of season as well. He's the big guy. He goes up and gets it. He's a top 10 for most of the season before his injury. So yeah, I like DK and Achan, but I don't mind the mix in Flowers and Tillman. Maybe I do because Tillman. We've been talking about the Browns' schedule remaining for the wide receivers and Flowers. Man, he is so good until he isn't. Just some of these games, it's so pedestrian for the pass catchers for Baltimore. And we saw Andrews as well, just a big disappointing game. I think I'm gonna go with the consistency of DK and Achan though, because it's giving you an extra roster spot, so you're picking up somebody as well. So there's also that mystery name. Is it a Trey Benson? Is it a Taysom Hill? Whoever you're picking up off the waivers. Is it worth picking up Taysom Hill when I have Bowers? And dude, you've got freaking Bowers and Kittle picking up. I guess it depends what else your roster looks like and what else is sitting out there on the waiver wire. I'm always a big fan of playing defense. If there's other teams that are struggling to find tight ends that are looking for somebody, I might, especially if it's somebody I'm playing that week. But to roster 3 tight ends when you may never play him, like he's the highest point potential out of all 3 of those players, but 9 times out of 10, I think Bowers is going to outscore him, and Kittle might be right there behind him. Taysom Hill's got so much work coming forward, but Brock Bowers just didn't set the record, but second highest target share for a rookie tight end in NFL history with 16. I believe he also has the 14th or the fourth highest at 14 as well. So Brock Bowers has been just legendary, absolutely great. I don't know. Who are you dropping to pick Taysom Hill up? I think that's the thing because I don't like rostering multiple tight ends, especially 3, but circumstances are circumstances. First in the league with a great roster. No kidding. You're first right now in this season. You got to have a pretty decent roster. Brock Bowers, I'm sure he helped take you all the way because he's been crushing it. Yeah. Who are you going to be dropping him for? I guess that's the big question. And does your opponent need a tight end in the next week or two? This is the time of the season. Start setting, not setting of your lineups, but I go through my lineup the rest of the week or the rest of the season at this point of the year. I want to know what's going to pop up. All right, do I have a double bye week? Do I have a situation where I'm hurting here? Does my opponent have a situation that's coming into? It's a hard balance, but it just kind of sets you up so you know, hey, I know I'm going to need to find a running back over the next 3 weeks of waivers because in 3 weeks, my 2 stud running backs were both on a bye. Because we've got, I'm going to use it, but the bipocalypse term, we're going to say it quite a bit because it's this week and then it's in 2 weeks. For the U.S. players, we got Thanksgiving next week. Everybody's out there, but yeah, the sandwich weeks around Thanksgiving are 6 teams on a bye. This one's rough. I believe the 1 and 2 weeks is even worse just because we see, Colts are out, so no Anthony Richardson, but it's really Lamar that's out. It's so many big names that are out in week 14. So it's going to be hard to skate in. If you need 2 of 3 wins, I'd try and get them the next 2 weeks because that week it's going to be rough. Week 14 buys. Let me find that real quick. I thought I had it. Yeah, it's the Ravens, the Broncos, Texans, Colts, Patriots, Commanders. So they're starting quarterbacks on all of those. Denver, Ravens, Commanders. That's top 10, top 6. Top 8 quarterbacks. I'm trying to remember where Bo Nix is, 7 or 8. Texans, you're going to have quite a few players. Indianapolis, you've got JT and maybe Downs. Patriots, you've got May and the question marks around there. So yeah, you get a lot to worry about on week 14. Not looking forward to it, that's for sure. Zuzu, I have 2 free spots because I traded Pollard, Hopkins, and Aaron. Woo! For Barkley, that's a cleanup right there. Aaron Jones and Pollard, who are both banged up with, I'm like, we're checking out the backups for these guys. And then Hopkins, who I don't really want to own him at this point. There's so many more consistent options I'd rather play with. So that's great. Yeah, if you've got the options, pick up Taysom Hill. Hold him until you need to pick up something else, and then you drop him. But play keep away. Play keep away all day long, man. All in one show, trade Flowers for Jennings. Hit that now. If that's sitting pending, I'd take that in a heartbeat. I think I have Jennings top 15 rest of the season. I thought Debo was going to be one of the best grabs rest of the season, but I don't know what's happening with him. But it's just uncanny the connection we're seeing between Brock Bowers and Juwan Jennings. 2 weeks ago he hit 11 targets, 10 of which were first read targets. This past week I don't have the exact number, but he had 11 targets, 10 catches, 91 yards, and a touchdown. Green Bay, Buffalo, Chicago is gonna be rough, and then the Rams, Miami, and Detroit to finish it out. Championship week. Detroit and the Niners. Detroit might not be playing for anything at that point. Maybe the first overall or the first seed in the NFC, but the Niners are going to be playing for something the rest of the season. Oh, that game's going to be great. Best ball, we're like frothing at the mouth for that one. Yeah, I'm so happy about that. Yeah, freaking crushed it, Zuzu. Absolutely loved it. But yeah, back to all in one. Jennings every day of the month, and my RBs are Barkley, Henry, and Brown. Oh, Chase Brown. Holy crap. They let you have Barkley. I wouldn't have traded you that just out of principle, just because I didn't want to see you get your team that good. Damn, that team must have been hurting to take. Wow. Yeah, nice job, man. We'll give you one of those. That's pretty dope. Barkley, Henry, and Brown. That's rest of season. That's great. Chase Brown is looking like an absolute stud. His workload, the amount that they're running through him, the pass catching he's having, it's an elite pace. I will say that. I'm seeing arguments of like him or CMC rest of season. You take out the name value, Chase Brown might be there. Like this team is, they would need a win out to get 10 wins. And I know that was Joe Burrow's, what was it, like 3 weeks ago? That's all they were talking about. It's like, we just got to get 10 wins. 10 wins, we can get the playoffs, which might be true because I think the Colts are fighting for that first team out on the playoff bubble, and we don't want to go. We don't want to win. Please, Bengals, take that spot. But, yeah, Chase Brown looks great on bye this week. Yeah, that's right. So get to rest up and then just chunk out the rest of the season. I believe his rest of the season schedule is pretty amazing as well. Maybe it's not as good as I thought. It's about middle of the pack. Pittsburgh, Dallas, Tennessee, Cleveland, and Denver. So there's some tough defenses in there, but I think it's the way he gets used is why you're not too afraid. If it's bad game script and they have to pass, oh, great, he catches passes. If they absolutely blow out the team, they got to run the ball, work out the clock. Oh, he does that too. It's great. It's great. Khalil Herbert got traded for a couple weeks ago. He hadn't done anything. So I'm not too worried about that one. Zuzu, sadly, I was unlucky with my wide receivers, but Collins and Hill is finally back. Hey, I hope they can carry you the rest of the way. A couple of the receivers that I had for most of the year, and it's been rough trying to paste together some wins. That's for sure. George Play, sup, my man? What's happening, Georgie? Dropping 3 players and a defense from my squad. I'm dropping Love, Estime, Knox, and Packers defense. Which waiver wire pickups is worth it? Also, for the defense, I have Chiefs, Commanders. Honestly, they've all got pretty good matchups this week. So wait, you're dropping Love, Estime, Knox, and Packers. Do you know which way is worth it? Yeah, so I guess you don't have to pick up a defense. If you already have all those defenses, I'd drop most of them. You only need one defense most weeks. So I'd grab Chiefs and maybe a little something extra. But you gotta help me out a little bit, man. What do you have sitting on your waiver wire? Because I can throw names at you all day long, but I don't want to just throw stuff if you don't have them. Trey Benson I like as a pickup. Roshan Johnson, it's situational depending on what's out there. If Calvin Ridley made the waiver wire, QJ, if he's out there, I think he's worth going after. Nick Westbrook Akine, I said I wouldn't bring it up. But my buddy from the other show, he's just beating that drum. What is it? 5 of 6 weeks he scored a touchdown. Hasn't really been usable in any of it, but it's there. As far as tight end, Taysom Hill. Is Taysom Hill out there? I know he's been a hot commodity this week to pick up. Disley, Jonnu, they all look good at tight end. Trey Benson worth pickup, 100%. 100%. If you're looking for an automatic start this week, sorry, I'm fucking with my hair. It's just all over the place. Had to mow the yard, shower before I came in here. So anyway, yeah, Trey Benson, I would pick him up. We saw quite the influx in work from him this past week before the bye week. Connor's still going to be their guy, but Benson 10 carries, 62 yards, 2 catches for 25 yards. Finishes RB 21 and 20 the last 2 weeks. So even if you're not confident enough to play him, he's got a few good matchups coming up. You know, Seattle. He plays Seattle twice, Carolina in the playoffs, New England in the playoffs. The Rams isn't a bad matchup, and James Conner. He misses time. He always misses time. Like pulling up, he played 16 games, or no, not 16 games. 13 games, 13 games, 15, 13, 10, 13, 4. He always misses. 2 to 3 games, 2 to 5 games, somewhere in there. So yeah, I like Trey Benson quite a bit as a pickup. Other guys I look at, I'm trying to think of like middle of the pack. 12 man or 10 man? Because that kind of plays into what you're looking at. As far as other pieces, Christian Watson's out there, Romeo Dobbs possibly, Roma Dunze. I know Chicago's rough, but he does have an amazing schedule. We've kind of talked about him a little bit. Tajay Spears. I'd probably hold off on Tajay Spears a little bit. He did suffer a concussion and he plays Houston this week, so 12 man. Okay, cool. So you don't have a whole lot to choose from, but you got a few things. Sorry for the confusion. I have those defenses. Oh, okay. Those defenses are on your waiver wire. Okay. Okay. Same page now. My bad. My bad. I kind of thought that's what it was, but I was like, look, I've met some people out here that roster 3 defenses. So, yeah, I think I'd take Chiefs for sure. Go pick them up. Drop the Packers definitely. Tampa is going to be a great one to have going forward if they're out there as well. I think that's Tampa. All right. Same page, man. Same page. Sorry, I'm trying to read the chat too and catch it all up. All right, yeah, George. I think I'd prioritize Chiefs over Tampa this week, but Tampa long term. So if you want to just go ahead and grab your defense for the next few weeks, I don't mind going after Tampa. But like I said, every waiver article I've seen out there has Tampa. So unless you want to spend big on them, you might be competing for them tonight when your waivers run. Backups, Diggs and Higgins. Zuzu, you're just over here bragging about your team, man. Freaking crushing it. Collins, Hill, DK, and Higgins coming back with a good game. It's sitting good. Godwin and Diggs starting in my IR. So you've been dealing with the Collins, Godwin, and Diggs injury, plus Hill lost his quarterback, and he's all right there. So we're gonna bring Zuzu on the show next time because clearly I got a few things to learn here. No, but George, all good. Leggett and Elijah Moore. I take Elijah Moore this week just because Leggett does play the Chiefs. Horrible matchup. You're also getting Adam Thielen coming back from IR. We've only seen 2.5 games with him this season, but I still imagine he's going to demand a pretty decent target share in that offense. So what does that really do for Leggett? I still think he has the touchdown upside, but if he doesn't score, I think he's going to leave you disappointed. Whereas Elijah Moore, oh man, he leaves you disappointed, especially in Dynasty. But they're on bye this week, though, aren't they? Sorry, I've been going back and forth with so many teams right now. I'm trying to realize. Nope, they play Thursday against the Steelers. I don't know if I want to play that one though. Ooh, I might have Leggett over Moore just because it's a Thursday night game too. But if it's a shootout with Jameis, look at me, I'm tilting my ass off here. Let me pull up my rankings here and check that out exactly. I mean, it's also Tuesday, so I really don't fine tune a lot of my rankings until closer to Thursday. Elijah Moore, we got Leggett. Xavier Leggett. Yeah, I've got Elijah Moore above Leggett. Not much higher. I both got him as RB or wide receiver 4s this week. I think you're just playing on hoping that the Thursday night game's a shootout because I don't think there's a chance where Carolina can create a shootout with Kansas City, whereas Cleveland might give them some issues, especially them coming off a hot win against the division rival with the Ravens. All right, Zuzu, I got a hard question, or I got a hard question. I'm reading the hard question. In my team, my QBs are Mahomes and Daniels. Waivers are Love and Nick. Should I drop Mahomes? I think so. I think you drop Mahomes for Bo Nix. And wow, I can't wait to pull this soundbite of myself later because it's something to see. But Chiefs don't have a great schedule. A decent one. They play Carolina, the Vegas. Chargers, Cleveland, Houston, Pitt. Pitt in the championship. That one's not gonna be fun. But Bo Nix though, I'm pretty sure he's got a rest of season schedule. He does have a bye, so you got to take that in consideration. But if you got Jaden Daniels, because what he's got a bye on week 14. Oh, all right. So there's your issue. Jaden Daniels and Bo Nix both have a week 14 bye, so you would have to patch something together there. Um, but Bo Nix plays Vegas, Cleveland, Indy, Chargers, and Cincinnati. Indy and Cincinnati in two of those three games in the championship. Like, oh, that's so amazing. Trade deadline's gone. I wonder if you trade Jaden Daniels for some. No, you probably want to keep that because he does play Philly. Damn. So both of their rough matchups come on week 14 and 16. So maybe you don't pick up Bo Nix. Or maybe you flip Daniels and pick up Bo Nix and ride with Patty and Bo. I guess that's the issue right now I'm looking at is Denver and the Commanders. They're two rough games. Yeah, it would be the bye in 14 and then the Chargers and Philly in week 16. But I mean, you're going to lean the Chargers, the Bo Nix matchup over the Commanders one. So yeah, I like Bo Nix. I'd pick him up over Mahomes rest of the season. Let me look at here for the Packers what their situation is. They've got a rough one. They play San Francisco, Miami, and Detroit the next 3 weeks. But then in the playoffs, they get Seattle, New Orleans, and Minnesota. So maybe loves your pivot there in um, in week 15 or week 16 for the semifinals. But 14, yeah, you're looking for somebody to fill in on 14, and that one's bad. Baker won't be out there, no. Dude, yeah, there's some rough matchups on week 14 just with all the buys. So, just for this situation, yeah, I would go Bo Nix over Mahomes, but make sure you're checking out what you have as far as pivot options. At the same time, though, I guess you don't have to worry about week 14, do you? If you're in first place and you have that many wins above the other teams, who cares? You take a loss. If it's a single quarterback league, I don't think you can lose just because of your one quarterback. All in one show, we got Goff, Gibbs, Jacobs, Flowers, Puka, Kelsey, and Connor. Goof starting lineup this week. Oh, was that your starting lineup? Because that's and Connor and Goof starting lineup. Goff should have a good game. Goff and Gibbs are playing Indianapolis. I like that. Flowers, can he bounce back this week? I really don't know. I really don't know what to do with Flowers. And they play, of course, the Chargers on Monday night. If that game just doesn't scream defense, I don't know what does. Have Burrow, London, and Higgins, but they're on bye. Yeah, it's gonna be rough having to have all those, but I mean, you got a pretty good combination of guys right here. You'll be able to patch up a starting lineup, no problem. And talks of adding Jennings for Flowers. Yeah, absolutely. Go get Jennings for Flowers. I remember you popped that up there. That one looks great. Absolutely great as far as just a pickup. It's a 10-man league. We're some newbies, so it's not that hard. Hey, win's a win. Wins. 4 guys auto-drafted. What is that? What is that? I will say, I've lost to an auto-drafted team in my home league before. The guy was pretty terrible altogether. His team auto-drafted, and he ended up running the whole table. I believe it was what's his name? David Johnson. It was David Johnson's breakout year, and it snowballed from there on that team. But they also have the same bye, Nix and Daniels. Yep, there we go. Same page with you. It's even. The other guy's also 8-3. 3 play. Yeah, that's gonna be hard then, because I'm sure you're gonna want the bye if you guys have a bye week. So you will be competing. Oh man, I can't believe Bo Nix is just sitting out there. I guess it's an 18 league, so that's understandable. There's a lot of other appealing pieces. At that point, maybe you guys need to super flex it. You know, I love super flex in 8 team just because I even like two. I've got one league where it's an 8 team league. It's 2 quarterback and a super flex because your 18 teams, 24 quarterbacks, you still have another 8 that are sitting out there in waivers if you're not hoarding them like that. But it just really adds. So he should replace them. You going back up to. Oh, I actually got lost here in yours. If you're talking about the Jennings Flowers, absolutely replace them. 100%. I'm right there with you. Awesome. Yep, you got anything else though? Throw in there. We just got a few more minutes before we wrap this thing up today. As far as streaming defenses, Bucks we've talked about quite a bit. Commanders at Dallas though. You can go get the Commanders against Dallas. I do like them. I think between them, the Bucks and the Chiefs are three of my favorite plays this week. If you can get your hands on that. Texans against Titans, I'm kind of intrigued by as well, but Texans are a lot better defense. So you're not getting as much. Oh, nice. Any Jets fans out there watching? You want to spew your mind a little bit? Let us know what you're having to deal with, just because it's been rough out there. You feel bad for the fans. Do they draft a quarterback with their top 10 pick this year? Do they do they force Aaron Rodgers to sit there and watch another first round quarterback come sit behind him? It's wild. Oh, we got another one. KJ's popping in. What's happening? Better running back stash for the rest of the season. Cam Akers, Roshan, or Algier. I I think Roshan Johnson's the most talented out of the three. I will say that. But I hate his schedule. Absolutely hate his schedule rest of season. I believe I would have Algier over Cam Akers. I think it's just based on talent right there at that point. Um, I just don't think he has it. But the Falcons do have, granted, they're on a bye this week. They play the Chargers in Minnesota the following 2 weeks. But they're three playoff week matchups. You get the Raiders, you get the Giants, and you get Washington. You can run on all three of those teams. So Algier is definitely my favorite stash out of the three of these. Yeah. Zuzu, I have Lions and try to get the Texans. Oh, for your defense, yeah. I don't mind the Texans definitely. I wish they were a little bit more splashy as far as the big playability, but Lions, they've got a great rest of season schedule as far as the running backs go. So when that matches up pretty well, you can usually guess that your defense is going to have to do a whole lot. That defense they'll be playing against Buffalo, Chicago, and San Francisco in the playoffs. So I might be pivoting from the Lions at this point, looking for something a little different to go to. Texans, they play Miami, Kansas City, and Baltimore. Yeah, you're not playing them for probably those last two games, maybe Miami. Honestly, Houston, after this next 2 weeks against Tennessee and Jacksonville, they hit their bye in week 14. Yeah, I'd probably be dropping them at that point. You're not going to play them after that. Smash start for Broncos defense this week. I believe so. The defense is freaking incredible. Oh yeah, 100%. Love that. Love the matchup against the Raiders and whoever they decide to throw out there, whether it's freaking Minshew or not Ritter. Is it Ritter? Yeah, Desmond Ritter. It's absolutely gross out there. So yeah, start up Denver. This defense has just been crushing. They crushed the Falcons, who have one of the most fun offenses that we have in the league this year. So I don't see them having a problem, especially with the fact that Madison and Zamir White might not play. No update on Madison. It's Tuesday. I hate that we don't get news. Yep, I don't have any news on White or Madison. But if they miss, and then we're down to just Abdullah, Laube, Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker. I mean, Brock Bowers, the poor dude, probably. I mean, he might draw Patrick Surtain if we're being all honest. Like, who else would he cover? So yeah, I love the Broncos this week. Zuzu, I hope Cowboys tank this season and draft. Dude, that would be the most Cowboys move ever if they take a running back in the top 10. Like, they have holes all over that team. And I could see Jerry Jones saying, no, let's go get a running back. Let's restart the Zeke years. They were so productive. We did so well in the regular season. Let's go get them. Freaking crazy, man. Absolutely crazy. I hope they do, just for the chaos. I love to see it. They had back-to-back years where they took Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb, and you're like, oh my gosh, look what the Cowboys are doing. They've got it figured out. They're building this team. They're paying for it, and then that happens. Freaking ridiculous. Zuzu, what else you got for me? Bowers or Kittle this week? Oh, what a decision. Probably just go Bowers. Just I'm pulling it up right now, but at first glance, I'm probably going to go Bowers, just on the simple fact that Kittle's coming back from a hamstring injury, and that Brock Bowers is just the bomb. He does get Denver, so that is rough, but can you bench a guy that got 16 targets this past week? I really don't know if I can. Not to say like the guy's matchup proof, because he's not Hercules out there, but good lord, he doesn't look like a rookie. He doesn't look like a rookie at all. So I'm okay losing my week by picking Bowers over Kittle. Not that like it's necessarily going to lose you, but if Bowers goes out there and gives you 8 points and Kittle gives you a 20-point game, I'm not going to feel upset just because I think that Bowers gives me that higher chance overall at the floor and the ceiling. So give me him. But that's no slight on Kittle either. I've got Brock Bowers ranked number 2 this week, and I've got Kittle at 4. So, take that for what you will. I don't think you should. Hell, flex him. No, actually, your team's probably too good. So, I don't know if you're flexing a tight end in there. I have to bench DK every week, so I'm fine, I guess. Yeah, look at you. God, I wish I was in that situation. I've been having to shove DK in there this past week, and it hurt me. It hurt me. Well, folks, I think that's about it. We just got a couple minutes for I'm wrapping out of here. But if you do have more questions as we get through the evening or get through the week, you can find me at @too_much_Brian on Twitter. I'm over there answering questions, doing what I can. All my content is linked to my page as well. If you're looking for me or the rest of the folks over on the Fantasy Football Advice Network, make sure you're heading over there. Set you up an account. You can we got football, basketball, and baseball as we're jumping into other fantasy seasons, so we're looking to expand that. And of course, Start Sit Show, we've got one coming out tomorrow. We've got one coming out Thursday, and then I'll hit you with Friday, just kind of a recap on the week and maybe a few gambling parlays. Just looking to make a little something on the week. So it's a profitable hobby, of course, because that's what my wife always asks me. Why are you spending so much time there? Are you making money? I'm like, kinda. But yeah, can't thank y'all enough for hanging out with us. We got some regulars popping in here, Zuzu. Absolutely. I can't wait. Can't wait to see you back here next week, as always. The rest of the regulars that are popping in here and the new ones. But until then, we'll see y'all next time. And subscribe, all that fun stuff. Later!
We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to Fantasy Sports Advice.